On this episode of the podcast, I have Juan Alvarez on the show with me. Juan is on the forefront of the crypto and real estate space, and he's leading us to be able to buy and sell tokenized real estate. You may have no idea what that means. That's totally okay. We're breaking it down for you in here. We talk about what is tokenized real estate, how does it work, why you would want to be doing this if you were selling, or why you want to invest as a buyer. What are the benefits globally within the great wealth transference? What are the risks involved? And how will tokenizing real estate affect the real estate market? We also talk about mortgages on the blockchain. If you think crypto was going away and some sleazy scam, if you have been listening to this podcast long enough, you might realize that you're probably a little bit wrong. It's only growing and getting more and more utilities in the marketplace. And real estate within the crypto space is this beautiful new space that we get to actually learn about and play in. It's a hot conversation. So please hang with us as we break this down for you. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Wealth Alchemist podcast. My name is Carrie Norley and I am here today very excitedly with Juan Alvarez. He and I met at Florida Bitcoin and Blockchain Conference, and he was talking on a panel about real estate and crypto. And I knew, I was wet inside of how excited I am to bring this conversation to the table, because this is a really, even in the crypto space, a very up and coming new experience within the crypto space. And I'm excited to have him here. He has an immense amount of education and experience in the real estate sector to begin with. That is actually his experience. He has over 15 years experience brokering luxury residential and commercial real estate. He is based in Miami. He has a Master of Science in Finance, a Master of Science in International Real Estate. He's Fintech certified from Harvard University. That's super cool. He has led transactions for a total of over $400 million in real estate. He knows what he's talking about, people. So basically he helps people to invest and buy their ideal properties in the Florida/Miami area, which of course is a very up and coming area right now, more than ever before. And then he chose to go in and complete this Fintech certification in Harvard and has opened his own real estate brokerage. And Brett, which we are going to hear about, was born to become part of the blockchain ecosystem and start Tokenizing Miami. His latest goal is to leverage blockchain technology and forge strategic partnerships, and will soon revolutionize Miami's real estate industry. I think it is so freaking cool. So it's amazing to have you on the show today, Juan. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me over, Amy. I'm very excited about this opportunity to participate in my first podcast.
Oh, this is your first podcast.
Yes.
Super cool. Okay, so I love that. I love that. Oh, I love to break your podcast virginity. Okay, so to start with, let's have you drop into, and I told everybody, by the way, I've told Juan that we have newbies listening into this show. So we're going to try and break this down as simple and easy as possible into what in heaven's name this means, and to start to help you guys understand some of the languaging and what all of this means behind real estate and tokenizing real estate and yada, yada. So can you just start by what in heaven's name is real estate tokenization, which is what putting real estate into crypto, if you look at the technical terms, is?
Yes, just leveraging on the background you described about me, myself being an engineer.
Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yes, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Spending so much time working in the business as a real estate broker and understanding all the ins and outs, title work, financing, international investors, different ways to work on real estate investments as a corporation, as an individual, as a foreign corporation, all the advantages and disadvantages, tax breaks, and everything you can do and you should know about real estate. I decided to go deeper into knowledge, and I went to get a master's degree in international real estate, where I learned many things about the business and about the way many people kind of foresee how real estate is a branch of finance, and it should be treated that way, and it should be analyzed and broken into numbers. Many people make investments based on gut feelings or family traditions. Everybody think real estate is good, and people tend to think if they bought something for 50 and sold it for 100, they made $100 or 100%. I'm sorry, 100% profit, which is not real. So you have to understand finance in order to get into real estate analysis the way I learned. And so, understanding that was key for me. Then, I became the best student in the program. And after 1 year of hustling, managing a team of 15 people, brokering $30-40 million per year of both commercial and residential properties here in Florida, I decided that one master's degree wasn't enough. So I decided to get a second master's degree in finance, which was a back-to-back program, and I spent total 2.5 years going into these programs and understanding finance and learning everything about finance. And at that time, year 2015-16, there was already a concept of the crowdfunding, and there was already some conversations in the field about digitalization of assets. So that triggered me to believe there was something about to happen. Blockchain was already booming. There was a lot of hype on blockchain development. Finding a IT developer or computer science guy with skills for blockchain was very difficult to find at the time. They used to make, back in the day, 100,000, 150,000. In today's market, they're worth $250,000, $300,000 per year, the least expensive ones. There is a shortage of blockchain developers.
Totally.
And people started to get into blockchain, into bitcoins, into crypto, and the concept of digitalization of assets started to grow. And there wasn't a way for me to understand how to tackle the opportunity. To be honest with you, I was tired at the time for 2.5 years of studying, and I needed a break to kind of let the dust settle and understand better what I got into my head and what I needed to do. And so I did more research, and I finally got a certification in Fintech, which is the best way to explain and to understand people. Fintech is pretty much the disruption of technology in every single aspect of finance, or on every single aspect of human behavior that involves money. So banking, the best example is how Airbnb broke into our lives and allowed for short-term rentals, and everybody started buying properties for short-term rentals. Uber, and many P2P concepts about peer-to-peer lending platforms in China booming. The whole culture evolving into a more diversified and decentralized systems where people is able to crowdfund for ideas, get funding for projects, how all aspects of supply chain for companies, on production lines, on finding every single raw material, and how to track how all these materials or anything that can be sold at a supermarket that we buy through Amazon is already on the blockchain. That concept of boomed and brought a lot of changes. Where finally the pandemic triggered an acceleration of all these changes. People being locked up at home, ordering groceries online. Now we have online certificates for vaccination that you can use globally, that you can actually upload to governmental websites whenever you want to visit certain states or countries. that's kind of just to give you an idea of how fintech is evolving and changing the world. So fintech for real estate, it's the most difficult concept, to be honest. I had to choose out of 6 different tracks how I was going to do my thesis. So obviously, being a real estate broker, I chose my track on real estate, and I did a thesis about real estate tokenization, which back in the, like, almost 2 years ago was already a concept, and there were already companies tokenizing real estate, mainly commercial buildings, difficult concepts, like parking lots, parking buildings at airports and stuff like that in Europe. Lots of big banks and investment firms started to kind of like raise money and invest into research for real estate tokenization. And it's finally a concept today. It's happening. There are many companies within the United States tokenizing real estate. My company is one of them. There are other players in the business, which I applaud, and I actually look up to them because they actually got started before me, and they have some lead in the business. So basically putting together this thesis about tokenization of real estate is pretty much a concept where we use digital platforms to fractionalize real estate investments that in the past were sold through crowdfunding, mainly basing everything on the Jobs Act law, where 506C allows for fractional investment up to $5 million with no regulation whatsoever. That's pretty much the loophole that opened the opportunity for real estate tokenization. So I can raise up to $5 million through crowdfunding, through tokenization of assets, and I pretty much can just put a property on one of a crowdfunding platform and try to raise up to $5 million, no questions asked. Basically, what I have to do is make sure, one, the property doesn't have a mortgage so that I can tokenize it. Second, I have to transfer ownership of this property to a corporation, a legal entity, where I can actually set a strategy for fractional ownership and say, I want to divide this property in 100 shares, 1,000 shares, 10,000 shares, and set a price. And the key here is to make sure all these properties are income producing properties and can actually pay a dividend to an investor. So people will be trying to pick and choose from the different alternatives out there for investment, anything that can yield a return. If the property is yielding a return and we can pay this return through the blockchain, once people buy these shares through a security token, which basically a security token is also an idea that was pushed by the government to make sure you can convert a share of a property into an asset that's digital, that's a security token on the blockchain. It's called security token because it has a lock-in period that pretty much prevents that the valuation of this token can either go to a roof from one day to the other or actually sink from one day to the other. Investors have to hold these tokens for 1 year if they're within the United States, or for 90 days if they're foreign investors, before they can actually go to a secondary market and try to trade these tokens for a profit.
Okay, hold on. Don't go there yet. Hold on 1 sec. I'm going to ask you some questions before you go there.
Yeah.
Okay. So to help break this down a little more before you get into more details about all the things, what I'm hearing you say to me is, in plain English, Carrie style, tokenization. So basically what we're doing is you're taking real estate, whether it's commercial or I'm assuming commercial versus a residential right now for like your tokenizing things. Yes.
It will be residential as well, the only caveat is the property cannot have a mortgage.
Right.
You cannot tokenize a property that has a lien from a bank.
Okay. So
Because
someone has to own it outright to begin with.
outright. That's the key part.
So with the tokenization, okay, so let me just get back to before we go there. Okay. So tokenization will actually mean that, like, ultimately it's like, to me, what I'm hearing is like you get a token, like you're taking like a piece of a bigger pie and you're getting the token. So it can be, this token could be like, you could have a block, a residential property that's worth $1 million and you sell off 10 shares at $100,000 a piece. And each one is its own token.
And what actually this implies is financial inclusion, which is very important when we talk about advantages of tokenization, is financial inclusion.
Yes.
So I bump into a lot of people from South America who love to invest in United States real estate, but obviously the entry level for any investment over here is 500,000 and up.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But most people don't have that much money. However, many people come to me and say, I have 50,000, I have 100,000, I have 20,000. Okay. So we will be allowing an opportunity for all these people to buy a piece of a property. And, all these properties, let's say, for example, this building where I'm located here, this office building is worth 100 million. Okay. Only like big insurance companies and like big REITs or big investment firms or a very wealthy person could buy a property like this. But if I break it into shares of 100,000, 50,000, more people can buy the asset. So this means in one end, for the property owner, he has more chances to sell the property or liquidate a portion of the asset at a faster time without disintermediation. I mean, with complete disintermediation, without intermediation, okay? And in real time. So it's a solution for liquidity for a property owner, okay? And a solution for financial inclusion for anyone who has any money and is looking to have a piece of a property while making a rental return that's paid through the blockchain.
Okay. So no, I love this. It's like, but it's a lot to get your head around in the languaging. Okay. So you have this block, it's $1 million. You're selling it off at 10 shares. We're just going to call it for ease here at 100K a piece, right? Those are the tokens. What's the difference between tokenization and fractionalization? Nothing. Well, it's the same.
No. The difference is you can own a share of a property without a token, okay? Which is pretty much the concept of crowdfunding. Or the concept of limited liability companies that are breaking into pieces to sell to different investors. The advantage here is when the token, when this share is assigned in the blockchain, it becomes a digital asset. Okay. So
the tokenization is actually the part that's on the blockchain.
Yes.
It's all fractionalized. The tokenization is actually what you're owning.
The main thing is once you break a company into shares, assigning this share to a digital asset in the blockchain, that's called tokenization.
Got it.
So we assign these digital shares to security tokens to avoid volatility for the first year. Okay. But then the advantage of tokenization is you can go to a secondary market once this locking period lapses, and you can sell it. And you can sell it for a profit, where there is a market that's liquid. A secondary market could be an app or an exchange, like alternative trading systems like
Uniswap or something like
Uniswap or comparable. And you just,
by the way, for those of you who are listening, Uniswap is a place that you can go and exchange things in the crypto space right now. Just for you listening. Yeah. Okay, go on.
So you take this token and you say, I bought it last year for $100, and I'm gonna try to sell it here for 125. You know, as long as there is somebody willing to trade another token or another crypto for that crypto, you're making money, which doesn't happen in the regular crowdfunding. If it's not
because
digital.
then you'd all have to sell it all out together, wouldn't you? In like the regular traditional way of doing this.
Well, you know,
That was
you pretty
question
much depend. You depend on the asset manager to set the rules and say, let's sell these shares for a profit, or let's sell this property for a profit. You know, and then all of them have to be traded at the same time. Here, no. You own a token. You go to a secondary market. That's another solution for liquidity. So liquidity, in the first place, is tokenization allows a solution for liquidity for the property owner who's looking to sell, who's looking to liquidate, okay? But once the investor has acquired this token, can go to a secondary market and try to cash out, okay, for a profit or just got tired of this token and found something else that's more interesting, they can just swap it or exchange it for something else. So the universe of alternatives open. And I'm missing one more, which is you can actually put a mortgage to your token.
This is what I want to know. This was one of my questions.
Yeah,
I want to understand mortgages in it,
because platforms like Celsius are working on solutions to.
Hold on. Let me explain. Celsius, for those of you listening, I actually have on my list to get in touch with someone from Celsius to come onto my podcast, but it is a DeFi platform where you can put your money in, and ultimately it's one of the most simple places you guys can go in order to put your money in and start making interest through borrowing and lending in a really simple way. But that's Celsius, just so you understand when you go on. Go ahead. So you can go to Celsius.
So you can go to Celsius and you can pretty much just give them your token, which they freeze your token or your crypto or whatever, and they put it in a cold wallet, you know. And they start paying you interest monthly on your token, whatever amount you have there. They're usually, you know, offering between 6 and 10% monthly for your token. So, you know, there's
so you can actually put so you can actually put that up as for lending. You can actually put your house up for lending, like as if you're taking a loan off of your house.
That's the ultimate solution that's being worked on. That's why I told you real estate is very slow, and you know, it doesn't move as fast as other crypto or other financial instruments. But the ultimate goal from my end, and I'm actually working very close with Celsius people and DG Shares and other companies to come up with a solution where you can actually mortgage your token, or we ultimately can work with one of our lenders that we use for financing real estate and try to get a third level of liquidity for the token owner by mortgaging these assets. So it's work in progress. That's the last part.
Okay, but so when you say mortgaging,
it's gonna happen within the next 6 months for sure.
No,
you'll see.
It will. Did you say it will happen?
Yes, it will happen.
Okay, so when you say mortgaging it, does that mean, because this is where my curiosity is as to where this space is going, is, I mean, like I still have questions for you on this other stuff, but this is a bit all over the place, but we're going. With mortgaging, you're talking about that, like, I'm hearing it from two perspectives, right? I can take a house if I own my house, and I can go refinance it and draw down on my mortgage to take more money out and utilize that as loan for myself effectively, right? So are you saying that is what you're working on within the space, and or, right? Because this is what I've been waiting for to come out into the crypto space, is actually because in the real estate space, we can go to the bank and we can get a mortgage to buy a house, right? Because most people, like you said, even if doesn't matter if you're in South America or in America, most of us do not have $500,000 sitting in our back, you know, and even if we do, it's not leveraged to buy a house outright in cash. Like that's not a very leveraged decision to make for the most part, generally speaking. So in the crypto space though, in order for us to be able to borrow and lend, we have to put up our collateral. So if we're borrowing, right, in DeFi, if you're borrowing 10K, you're usually gonna be putting up 15K, right? So if I'm taking out a loan for a house, that's a $300,000 house or $500,000 house, whatever it is, I'd have to in DeFi right now over collateralize that. And I don't necessarily like, that might not be my situation, right? So I'm kind of wondering when we're going to have this period when we're going to be able to get mortgages that are not over collateralized in this space. So that's two questions for you. I'll let you go wherever you want with them.
Yeah, so in order for me to answer those questions, I have to go back into the concept of digitalization of assets, because basically this concept of tokenization allows for the human race will be able to tokenize anything, any asset, and it's already happening. So you can actually go and you can tokenize a bond, you can tokenize a stock, you can tokenize credit card debt, you can tokenize auto loans debt or auto debt, mortgages. You can tokenize all those products on the secondary market. Okay. But when we talk about my platform and the way we work, what I look for is somebody who owns a property outright and is looking to sell. Okay. So I come as a real estate broker and I offer my real estate services as a broker, and I say, I can offer you the same services that your realtor or another real estate broker can offer to sell your property, which is going to take me 6 months, 7 months on an average to bring results if the property is priced correctly.
Just a quick message for you about a new mastermind called Unplug that I am inviting you into. There is an amazing buzz around the crypto space, and with that comes a whole new language and an education to be able to take advantage of early adoption as we move into this amazing space. So many people think that you have missed this early stage, but we are still there and you still most definitely have time to get in and dive deep. This is why I created Unplug. I know many of you want to learn to take the cash you are making and get it working for you so that you can create another form of income and eventually financial freedom. I also know that there are many of you out there that realize the financial system is corrupt and not designed for us, and you want a way out. The crypto space is amazing and also a learning curve. If you don't know what you're doing, you can run into all kinds of mishaps that will lose you money. So if you want to accelerate your wealth creation and learn how to decentralize yourself and your biz so that you can become sovereign, Unplug is for you. I will show you how to get returns that range anywhere from 5% up to, I had 61% compounding interest in one of my accounts just a few weeks ago. This is not always available, but it definitely exists. We will be learning about NFTs, DeFi, privacy, and learning how to make smart investment decisions and getting your biz crypto and Web 3.0 ready and more. There are so many amazing people already signed up and getting moving, and the caliber of people coming into this space is amazing. Not just the participants, but also the guests I have lined up. It's not just about me. This is a mastermind where everyone will learn and grow in this new space together. If you are ready to leap into the new wealth and break free of the banking system, this is for you. Please message me on Facebook or Insta for more details. Our first call begins on the 26th of January. If you are hearing this message after that, please do still reach out and let's see how I can support you to get into the crypto space. And now back to the show.
Or while I'm trying to sell your property through the regular avenues, we can go through tokenization. Through tokenization, we can go to DeFi solutions, which is tokenization, and we go and we put your property on a crowdfunding platform where people will see why your property is attractive to the eyes of an investor.
So this is basically like a digital crowdfunding platform. It's not the same as going to like a traditional.
That's correct.
Right. Okay.
That's correct. So we may be able to raise 100% of the money, or we can raise a portion of it. At any rate, in any way, it's liquidity for the investor or for the owner. Okay. So the owner can say, okay, let's tokenize the whole property. If you were able to raise 60, 70%, 75% of the money, give it to me, and I will keep 25% of this property in tokens, which I'm gonna hold. And once my locking period lapses, I'm gonna go to the secondary market and try to trade these tokens for another token or for fiat. So at the end, whoever owns real estate will be able to liquidate 100% or a portion, or actually make a profit 1 year later once they go to secondary market and they try to trade those tokens for a little more that they were trying to trade them 1 year before. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different way to look at real estate investments. It's a different way to look at leveraging. It's a different way to looking at mortgaging, because instead of going to a bank asking for a loan, you go to a crowd, which is people on the internet, on the blockchain, looking for investments and say, I like this property. I like the rental. I like the location of this property. Let me take the property. Let me hold it. And whenever I need money, I go to the secondary market, raise money, or get money from the crowds out there. Basically, and that's the concept of DeFi, is you go outside of central banking.
Right. Yeah, totally.
So,
yeah. Okay. So now let's say this person has put the house on the market. They've done this. They've got their 20%, 25%, and everything else has been tokenized out, right? And it's a residential property. I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, we're now going to rent out that property because not 20 different people are going to come and live in a house.
No, basically, most people will invest on a property based on location, and second is yield, which is the rental income. So the property, this seller, if he's only taking 75% of the money and keeping some tokens for himself, he's gonna have to rent the property and pay all these people who gave him 75% of the money a yield or return on their investment.
Okay? A percentage of the rental.
Otherwise, is a mute effort unless this property is prime location and people is just willing to hold the token, thinking that the property will appreciate, hence the token will gain value over time.
Got it.
So in essence, tokenization allows for a new volatility avenue for the asset, because in today's market, through traditional real estate, you have the market timing and the market fluctuation of the value over time of a property. But through tokenization, you also have the valuation of the token, which is based on the volume of transactions of this token in the market and how appealing it is for investors. So it will gain also value. So while the property may lose value over time, the token could gain value over time, or they could go up at the same time, or they could go down at the same time, or they could go like that. So you're adding one more layer of volatility to real estate, which is also something to take care about. You have to look into it and know what you're doing, because the way I analyze real estate investments is it's all about timing. So when you add this second layer of volatility, you also need to take into account the market timing of the token, not only the market timing of the real estate. So it's more complex, but it's beautiful. I mean, that's what's happening. I think people today is more prepared. People understand finance more than they past generations used to. I think so. Otherwise,
it's debatable.
just the fact that you're able to open a Robinhood account and look at all these graphs and all this information, some people get it, some people don't, but more people is getting financially literate and is looking to understand. At the end of the day, the real estate market overall has a size of 330 trillion. Okay, over the next 5 years, 5 trillion will be tokenized. So it's happening. It's gonna happen, and it's all a matter of trying to get there. It's all these statistics and information is on the internet. You can actually look for it, or I can give it to you. But definitely technology is opening new ways and new ways to invest, new ways to own, new ways to to consider ownership. There is more flexibility, there is more accessibility. You can look for all this information 24/7 from wherever you are and actually buy tokens within 5 minutes after you complete a AML.
I know, isn't it crazy? Like the thing that I think about real estate on the blockchain, and I can also see, like, I don't know if this actually exists for what you do anyway, but like people will start using NFTs to sell their houses too. Like, house will be an NFT or however you want to say that. And we'll be seeing things like that. I already met somebody who's looking at creating an NFT around a car. So it's so fascinating how these types of things are showing up. And the thing that I love about it is, and this started because you said the speed of it, that to go get a mortgage and to go through all that kind of a thing can take weeks to months to go through to buy a house. And now we can, within minutes, be owning property, like within minutes, people.
Or if you need to raise money against a property, you can do it within a couple of days. I've seen tokenizations happening in a matter of like 10 minutes. A whole property is liquidated.
Wow.
$300,000.
Wow.
$100,000. So this is the advantage of thinking about tokenization. This is the advantage about leveraging on all this technology. And it's definitely a game changer. It's something to think about.
How do you think this is going to affect real estate to moving forward, the real estate market?
I think the industry will face fast changes. Many people is unprepared. I will say 95% of the people is unprepared for all these changes. Historically, real estate is the most illiquid asset and the most the industry that's most behind when it comes to adoption of technology. So all this disruption of technology into real estate is going to create big challenges for people to understand the concept of title, the concept of ownership, the concept of buying, the concept of selling, the concept of mortgaging. I will say it's going to happen within the next 5 years. We're leaders in the industry. Ironically, 6 months ago, we were calling people and trying to get people into having a conversation about tokenization, and everybody was saying, like, hanging up or just saying, don't talk to me about it, it's a scam. 2 months ago, people started to accept and say, you know what, tell me about it. Please explain to me, please share information, please let me think about it. In today's market, people is actually calling me. So I know many people is completely behind, and my main goal is to educate. So this whole concept of tokenization became it's now a startup. It was a branch of my real estate business. Now I had to kind of like divide tokenization and create marketing campaigns only for tokenization, where my main goal is to educate. I need to educate people who's selling property to get them into tokenized assets. And I'm also doing a lot of marketing or education to people who is looking to invest to buy real estate tokens. Also, since so many people own crypto in today's market, in today's world, and it's actually something that many investment banking and investment firms already adopted like a year ago, are telling people you should own out of your portfolio at least 10% should be crypto. Okay, so now people own crypto, and my goal is to convince all these people to, out of that 10% of the portfolio that's crypto, make 15, 20, 25% crypto associated to real estate. So the universe is very big. I see the adoption is happening. It will like, right, the momentum is there, but at some point I will call it 6 months from today, it will just accelerate. and everybody's going to jump into it, and everybody will be buying and selling properties through the blockchain. And it's a good thing to know I'm prepared, and I'm kind of like a leader in the industry. Whoever is in the industry and would like to know more, please reach out to me. I'm a very open person when it comes to knowledge. I don't hide any knowledge. I think knowledge is for everyone who wants it.
Yeah.
And so,
okay, so I have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
A couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
I still didn't hear. Do you reckon we are going to be able to get mortgages on the blockchain? Right now that we have to have them over collateralized, but do you think it's coming that we'll actually be able to get a mortgage to buy a house on the blockchain that I want to live in, that you want to live in, that's not shared amongst other people? Do you think it's coming?
But it will until central banks actually adopt all these methodologies and all these technologies and actually offer people a mortgage through blockchain. It will be a DeFi solution, which pretty much you can raise money against your asset, but from a crowd, which will actually make it faster, and it will be a process that I call, it will be also a little bit more democratic.
So do you think somebody, I mean, has this happened, right? So let's just say that a Joe Schmo down the street, you or I, some person wants to go and buy an average home, $500,000, $300,000 home, whatever it is, right? Just to live in for themselves. Do you think if it's in the right area and the right spot, right? Because some of this, as you've just said, is actually, it's just about having property in the right spot, right? And it's going to go up. So if I were to say I want to go do that and I want to raise money for a mortgage, does that exist?
No,
it's for everybody to be invested in.
It exists, and it's actually happening right now. There are development projects in Miami where developers are accepting crypto. So you can actually buy into any of those projects with your crypto. The key there is you're not required to bring 100% of the money in crypto. You can bring a portion of it, 40, 50%, 60%, and then the remainder you can actually go to a bank and ask for a loan. So the combination between
still need the bank and the mortgage.
I will say I love the concept of DeFi, but DeFi cannot exist without CeFi. We need central banks, we need the government, we need the interaction of all these people creating all these markets and opportunities. So it's happening, it's just a matter of like adoption, but it's happening. Yeah, it's happening.
Okay, so if somebody wants to, thank you for that. If somebody wants to buy into this, right, and they want to start, like, where do people even begin? Are there platforms people can go look at to like start to look for real estate? Obviously, they can come and talk to you, which we can get your details in a minute.
You can find my website is Bretts BRETS.io, and all the information is there. You can just go through a registration process that takes 5-10 minutes, which is basically a KYC AML filter. We make sure
KYC, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is know your customer. You just have to put in your details so that people who know who you are. Go on.
Making sure people is no laundering money, and people don't have a real person with criminal background, and it's also a real person. Once that filter is passed, you land into a page where you can see the different opportunities where you can invest, starting with $1,000, $10,000, with different returns, different properties, different locations, and you pick the one you like the most, and in a matter of minutes you can own a piece of a real estate located globally, because we're getting started with properties in Florida and properties in the United States, but this concept is global. I am working on projects for tokenization of assets in Colombia, Panama, Chile, Argentina, and many.
You guys were just in El Salvador too, weren't you?
Yeah, in El Salvador. We went to El Salvador. We're working on tokenization for Mexican properties, and you can buy properties anywhere from your phone at any time. That's complete disintermediation. 24/7 concept. It's very easy, very simple.
It's amazing. So then once I buy it, so if I come in, I come into your site, I buy it. Do I then hold it in like a MetaMask, or where does it get held?
No, it's not on the MetaMask. It's not on
Where
the
does it get held?
because this is actually the real mask. It's not, you own a property that's real, and what you own is a piece of a property, and what you get in exchange of your money is a digital certificate of ownership, which is a smart contract that's telling you where your property is located, how much percentage of the property you own, how much yield you're making, and if the property is too big and it's too complex and it requires voting rights and so forth, whenever we need to make a big decision on the asset, we will communicate through the token, and it's basically a token that you store on your e-wallet through Coinbase or through any other platform that allows.
So it's a more centralized platform like Coinbase versus. Okay. Interesting.
And then whenever you're ready to trade your token, you transfer it to Uniswap. Many people who already own real estate, own tokens, know how to jump into platforms, trading and moving. And then you just, whenever your price is fulfilled by somebody who's looking to pay you, you just trade the token for fiat or for another crypto, and then you just keep going.
Amazing. And then the money, so my dividends from rent or wherever we're getting our dividends from, are coming into me to my Coinbase.
If we're looking, we want to pay dividends in crypto, but many times volatility kind of like prevents us from paying through crypto. So what we do is we pay the dividend through fiat. So
interesting. Why not a stable coin?
It could be a stable coin as well. It could be a stable coin. That's
so many things. Yeah. So many things. It's like, the beautiful thing, and it's one of the things that I love right now about this area, and especially, that's what I was saying, especially about this real estate. Like, it is so new. This and NFTs, it's like, it is so new into this marketplace, and there's so much possibility. It's like, why not this? Well, it's because we haven't gotten there yet, right? We'll get there. I just think it's amazing. It's amazing. We'll get there.
Yes.
Okay. And so, okay. So it is pretty easy to do. I just have to go in and buy. We don't have to have crypto. I can buy on fiat. Risks are that it wouldn't sell, or that you wouldn't be able to sell it and make more money off of it. That's your biggest, it's just like real estate, right?
I think one of the biggest risks could be regulation. Maybe this concept explodes too much and the government has to kind of like step in and, change the rules. Otherwise, the only risk is, the holding period. You have to hold the token for a certain period of time before you can trade it, or you can just keep it forever. Ignorance, if you don't know how to navigate all these platforms and go through, the secondary market platform and move it and change it, and if you're not careful, you can actually lose it. It's very hard to track. It's not impossible to track, because that's one of the advantages of the blockchain, is that there is no fraud. There is no fraud and transparency. But for people who's not computer literate, could be very challenging. So those are, in my opinion.
Is it part of, so if somebody comes in and starts working with you and they buy tokens from you and they start to, work with you around this, do you also help them like set up, like if they're in a new place, like I've never done this before, do you help them like, okay, this is where you buy it, this is where I'm going to pay you, like you walk them through that process?
Yes, part of this startup concept is I have a marketing department, I have a customer experience department, I have a customer service department, and we have people here helping investors understand the concept of the tokenization and liquidity through tokenization. And also we have people helping investors understanding how to buy tokens and hold tokens and do all these different moves with their tokens.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So to wrap this up, I would love to leave it to you, come back over to you. Is there anything that you feel is left to say that we've missed out on here?
No, I think we covered many things, and I talk a lot. I will just say that I'm very thankful for the time and for the opportunity. If anyone wants to reach out to me, can find me on LinkedIn, Juan Alvarez, or just find us on the internet. Blockhouse Real Estate and Investments is the main company. The sister company for tokenization is Breads.io. Any questions, shoot me up, text me, call me, and I will just try to answer to the best of my knowledge.
Beautiful. By the way, Blockhouse is Blockhaus,
Yes.
right?
No C.
Sorry?
In house as like the German.
Yeah, house. Blockhaus.
BlockhouseRE.com. Yes.
RE.com. That's where you want to go to find more about Juan and all the amazing things, or Brets.io, Brets.io. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to think, is there anything else I want to say? This has just been like, truly to me, it boggles my mind what is possible when we start to look at this. And I think what you said, I was thinking about the advantages and the advantages and the benefits and the disadvantages and all the things that are, with any investment that we have. And I think the thing that I love about this, which is my favorite part of crypto altogether, is the wealth transference, right? Like being able to decentralize power, because any civilization that we've had in the history of humanity that has fallen, which are many of them, it's been because of a power. Like someone needs to have power. And in these ways, like we start to, again, this is just another layer of how we can decentralize the power and bring it to the people. And by allowing people who would normally not be able to buy into real estate to be able to buy into real estate, we now have more people being able to buy into a place that they couldn't have to be able to grow and develop their wealth. And we will see, like through crypto, through real estate, through DeFi, through NFTs, through all of these different experiences, we're going to see a completely different experience on the planet and wealth transference. And that's what's so exciting to me about this. So thank you for all that you are doing in this world. Thank you for being at the forefront of this. And I love how, by the way, you said like 95% of the world is like, doesn't know. And I'm like, I would actually go to the extent that if there's 95% of the world that doesn't really know about crypto, I'm going to go as far as to say that there's probably 99.9% of the world that doesn't understand real estate tokenization. So you are at the forefront of some seriously game-changing, amazing technology in this world. And I want to thank you for being a leader in this space and for doing the work that you do. Go get them. This has been amazing. If you're wanting to know more, please do reach out to him. And otherwise, have a wonderful day wherever you are in this beautiful world. And I will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you love what you heard, please help us get this message out to more people, because together we rise. Please review it, subscribe to the show, and share on social media. When you share, please tag me. On Insta, I'm at Carrie Norley, and on Facebook, I'm facebook.com/Carrie Norley1, or Carrie Kaplan Norley is my official name there. Please come and connect with me on social media and say hello. I love hearing from my listeners. And thank you so much for your support. I'm so excited to help you bring in the new wealth.